Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of Drive with the JIMS. My name is Jim Meyer, broker associate at Remax Gold. Now you have a friend in the real estate business. I'm here with my good friend Jim Filippi, Esquire. I've sent him a lot of clients. None of them have gone to jail.
When I'm feeling down, I can't win. Pour a strong cup of coffee and I tune in. I'm waking on up to Java with Jim. I know my best day can begin. Yeah.
Jim, what are you drinking this morning?
Good old water, but I know you got something in that fancy plaster title cup
Well,
there.
I'm drinking my coffee. I like my coffee the way I like my women, frosty and abrasive. Um, so
I do not endorse those comments.
So anyway, Jill, let's just say you have to go probate. What do they do? What does it cost?
Yeah, so it's, right now it's, 8 to 18-month process. So it's certainly nothing quick. And so if you have a situation, and I've had these situations where a real estate agent calls me up and says, "Hey, we're at closing, and it's come to find out the house is has to go through probate. Can we get a order from probate next week to get this thing closed?" And sadly, after I'm done laughing, I say, "No, it's going to be at least four months, because most courts are taking about 4 months to get a court date before I can get in front of a judge to get an order for that to happen." There are certain situations where we can get a special order and get that done quicker if there's reason for the court to move that fast, but they don't do it just because you have a house that wants to close next week. But getting back on task here, it's a long process, and it really depends on the size of the estate. And it's a tiered fee process for the real estate. I'm sorry, for the attorneys and for the executors. And so it ends up, if you have like a $500,000 estate, you're looking somewhere in a $20,000 to $30,000 range for probate fees, whether the attorney fee, the executor's fee, the cost of administration, court fees, publication costs, those type of things. So super expensive and takes a long time, and it delays everything. And when I say delays, what people don't really think about, and they're like, "I don't really care, I'll be dead." But the reality of it is if you own a house, you probably have a mortgage, and that mortgage company wants to be paid. They're kind of like the mafia. It doesn't matter if you're dead, they still want to be paid. And so I can't tell you how many times we're dealing with mortgage companies starting a foreclosure process before we're able to even get a probate started. And I've had situations where unfortunately the house was sold in a foreclosure, and we're having to chase down the mortgage company to get what's left after the foreclosure is done.
And that could be ugly, huh? So
It's
the
it's
solution to that is to call you while grandma's still alive and say, "Grandma, let's put this into a trust." Um, Explain the difference between a trust and a will. Do they work together, or does the will really matter if you got a trust?
Yeah, they both matter. They work together. The trust in the plans that we typically do, the trust is the nucleus of the estate plan. And so we're doing everything we can to protect that trust. And so the trust will do what we want it to do. And typically that's, pay bills and divvy up whatever's left in any way you want to. But sometimes, and like we talked about yesterday with the Hegstead motion, sometimes assets just don't make it into the trust because life happened. You got busy, you forgot, whatever the excuse is, never made it into the trust. And so then you have to have some sort of safety mechanism in place. And so we talked about Hegstead. That's one of the safety mechanisms, but the other one is a will. And I always tell people that, even though a will isn't the main document used to disperse your estate, it's still there as a safety net for the trust. So in case you forget to title an asset in the name of the trust, the will grab that asset and put it right back into the trust through the probate process. Still doesn't achieve the goal of avoiding probate, but at the end of the day, you still get the benefit of that being a trust asset.
Let me give a good example of what happened with one of my clients, because we hear all of these broad terms and they might not say, everybody always says, "Well, that's not my situation," but you don't know that maybe your spouse was involved with a refi of the house, left you out of it. You signed a quitclaim deed or whatever. It was in the trust. You're going to inherit everything if your wife, husband, whatever dies. But now they did a refi, and Rocket Mortgage said, "Oh, take it out of the trust." You do the refi. Rocket Mortgage says, "Bye, thank you." And nobody tells you put it back in the trust. And that's when you're calling Jim Filippi. It's ugly. So anything you do with your $500,000, $1 million house or whatever, it does not hurt to call Jim or myself and get some advice. I'm not going to give you legal advice. I'm going to tell you how we can help you sell, how you can buy something, how you can do a 1031 exchange. Jim is going to help you not get stabbed in the back by yourself when you die.
Yeah, no stabbing yourself in the back.
Exactly. So, am I right?
You're absolutely right. And the fact is, back when I worked in the mortgage industry before I became an attorney, I would give that advice. Take your house out of the trust. We'll put it back in the trust afterwards. And sometimes the client just never came back to get that second phase of it done. And sadly, that happens. I still run into a part of our process when we have someone that already has an established trust is to make sure all the real estate is in the trust by pulling deeds and making sure that was taken. I can't tell you how many people thought they had their house in a trust when it really wasn't. Luckily, we were able to catch that and put it, fix the situation before anything happened to them. But it happens all the time, and it's a tough situation, and that's where we have to get in and get the courts involved.
Especially, let's just say that you're up there, you're not a young couple just starting out. Maybe you're older and you're marrying somebody that already has real estate, or you've got your real estate, they've got theirs. You're trying to put things together, but that other person has always done their stuff on their own. It's so easy for people to not communicate. And then when you're dead, it's much more difficult unless you have a really nice Ouija board to do that communication.
Yeah, and it's so important for you to, early in your process of buying or selling real estate, is to connect with someone like Jim so that he can start determining if there's any issues, and he'll be able to, vet out any issues and start working on those before it's time to actually start getting the property listed. I've worked with Jim for many years now, and I can't tell you how many times he's worked with clients for multiple years in getting their house prepared for sale and ultimately gets it sold. He's he's willing to work with everybody to get through that process so you can achieve your goal, whatever that is. Not every agent's willing to do that.
And it's never too early to start talking about it. I've got a client that we were going to go look at the house that they want. Haven't talked to him in 20 plus years. He came back to me, and then I said, well, even though you're going to have a big down payment when we sell this house, you still got to have that lender letter. And so please talk to that lender before we go out and look at houses and etc. And then I've got my wife is involved in a lawsuit. We can't buy a house now. So a few phone calls before you put gas in that car and get people's excitement up can really help. Talk to the lender, talk to the title company, talk to the attorney, talk to me. So we're about to wrap up today's episode. Jim, do you have any final parting thoughts for the day?
Nope, it's been a great run. We had our 500th episode last week, and it's really cool to see this show evolve to what it is today. And it's a huge shout out to all our guests. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us.
And if you guys want to be a special guest on episode number 600, give us a call. All right, we're going to see you guys next time. Another exciting episode of Java with the Jams. Thank you very much.